Welcome to the show. This is my show. Thanks for tuning in. Here it comes again.
How about that? Yeah. Hey. Welcome back to another episode about mindfulness and meditation. I haven't talked about this much in the recent episodes, so I felt like maybe I should hit that subject again. It could certainly correlate with the recent interest in depression and anxiety just the same, but for now, let's just focus on general mindfulness. So starting off, I've personally been dealing with several things recently that have taken quite a bit of mental power to process and not unfavorably react to. The other day, I started to think about how differently I would have handled these issues had they happened 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I bet my head would have been spinning out of control with anger and fear and anxiety, which I'm still new to noticing anxiety. I think I've always had some sort of hint of it, but never really knew what it was. So it feels good to be able to categorize that more specifically now. Anyway, I'm still surprised at how well I was able to calmly think about all of these things and not let any sort of emotion take over. I mean, there was definitely frustration and emotion in the air, but I wasn't a slave to it as I've been in the past. To focus the spotlight on something, we'll just say my wedding last Saturday. I waited the entire day, really the entire day before that, for that familiar feeling in my gut, that nervous fear and anxious feeling that I would get before I play a show or before I have to talk in front of a lot of people or something like that. Those butterflies that you get. I didn't get that at all. And I'm still sort of processing that, I guess, trying to figure out if it's a matter of me being fully aware that that physical feeling just makes things really uncomfortable for me and does me no good whatsoever, or if I was just confident in my choice for marriage. I guess it could be a little of both, but either way, I felt great throughout most of the day. There were a few moments where I let some external things cause some serious frustration in my head, but it never turned into full-on anger or altered my physical state whatsoever. Well, maybe I had a face of frustration, but that would have been momentary. I actually haven't been meditating every day like I did for the first 6 or 7 months this year, but I still feel so much better about everything that comes my way, no matter how stressful or difficult it is. I don't let myself get too stressed out, and I certainly don't feel overwhelmed to the point where I need to switch everything off like I used to. That was a very common occurrence. If I didn't obviously display anger or frustration, I at least knew that I needed to stop and get away before I make things worse. So I guess more recent situations, I haven't even gotten to that point. It just, I can shut it down pretty quick in my head. Of course, there are spasms still, where I stub my toe on a table or something and it's, what the fuck? Just, you can't help it. But maybe one day I can help it. I mean, in that same situation, stubbing your toe, you react the way you react. Let's say it genuinely pisses you off. You are upset now. So there's 30 seconds of rage, and then you're in a bad mood for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Then what if you get a text from somebody that upsets you more because you're already in a bad mood, so you're not really receptive, so you receive this message in a negative fashion, and maybe it wasn't even negative, and you are more upset now, and who knows what's going to happen next to make it even worse. You sit down at the computer to do whatever, it freezes, shuts down, you lose everything. Fuck! there's something that has to be noticed of maybe a physical thing. You start to feel hot, tingly, sweaty. I don't know. Just whatever happens when you get upset, when you get really pissed off, like almost uncontrollably pissed off. Which, it feels good in the moment, but to just let shit out and embrace that feeling. But I don't know that it's that healthy. And if you don't know what I'm talking about as far as feeling good by being angry, what kind of weird, twisted, good feeling that is, I've said before in another podcast, you're lucky. That's a good thing that you don't know what that means, because it's kind of it's a curse. It's an anger curse. Bad. It's real bad. Man, I've derailed. I don't even know where I am. Okay, so let's get off of this I bullshit. Let's go for the you we business. Here we go. Let's try something. Try thinking about one of the more embarrassing things that have happened to you recently. Something that made you worry a little bit or feel silly and maybe small because of a mistake or misstep. If it happened in front of someone special or a lot of people. Think about that in your head. When you think about it, replaying it, do you find yourself actually feeling embarrassed and worrisome like you did when this actually happened? Maybe it's not as severe of a feeling, but do you sense some sort of change? If so, I believe that that's completely normal and kind of expected. The wound is still fresh, maybe. I mean, if we're talking something recent, and maybe, this happened, we'll just say in front of important people or whatever, right? Well, what if I told you that no one who witnessed this thought about it for more than 30 seconds and never thought about it again, and you're worried sick about it, and no one's thinking about it, no one's going to think about it, and you are worried sick, you are nauseous, you are anxious, you feel awful. Why? It's all because of what you are doing in your own brain, this weird wheel you are turning, and that is what's causing this uncomfortable sensation. That's what I think. I'm not a genius or anything. I'm not a doctor or a brainologist. I'm just, whatever. Does that make any sort of sense, though? Do you think that that's plausible? Why would you stress about something that no one else cares to remember? Why do you feel the need to be seen a certain way by the people that saw this embarrassing act? Try to pick apart the whole scenario and observe it from every angle you can think of. That's really the only way to understand something. You have to see it from all angles. Life is not one-dimensional. It has a lot of depth and detail. You just might have to see it through different lenses. Okay, back to the little experiment here. Think of something that recently made you sad. Picture it, replay it, think about it, and notice how you feel. If you really think about it, does it really make you sad again? What about something that made you mad recently? That good anger. What made you irate recently? When you think about it, do you get mad again? Are you picking up what I'm laying down here? If you can recall these emotions by thought alone, if you can get some sort of sadness, some sort of anger, some sort of frustration just from a thought, don't you think you can get the same little bit of happiness if you thought about something happy? When people say, "Oh, just think happy thoughts," it's shut up. But it is true. If you really understand and focus on something that makes you happy, it's going to take away from whatever is making you angry or sad. I can almost guarantee that, but just try it. Just just notice one time, when you get upset about something, your phone stops working, you're trying to make a call, and stupid fucking thing won't answer. You slide it 50,000 times and it won't work. It's frustrating. This happened to me 3 days ago. It's so dumb how such little things can affect you. It's ridiculous. So notice how ridiculous that is when you do it, and then stop doing it. That's all you got to do. You know, the stressful things we focus on are usually the things completely out of our control. And sometimes it involves assumption rather than evidence or proper reasoning. So it's just kind of dumb. We can get so tangled up in our worries and stresses that we lose sight of a way out. You can barely remember how you even got in, right? Oh, yeah, you stubbed your toe, or you got a paper cut, you pooted in your pants. Some random thought can come into your brain and make you think of something else, and then remind you of something else that might have been a little unfortunate and might have been a little upsetting, and then that's how it starts. You just get ping-ponged back and forth through all these thoughts and then stuck in a web of bullshit that you don't need to be in. Take control of your thoughts and seek a better way to filter out the daily struggles. You won't stop life from giving you lemons or piles of shit or whatever, but you can change the way you receive and filter them. Yesterday is an example for me. Sorry, I'm going back to me again. I went to an imaging facility to check out a lump in my armpit. I noticed it a few weeks ago, and kind of weird. So I made a doctor's appointment, and then I was recommended to go see a imaging facility. So I went yesterday, and since I made the appointment last week, I've contemplated several outcomes and scenarios, but none of them really stressed me out or gave me any intense worry. But I mean, even the shittiest scenario, it was just kind of a sad feeling. I still didn't have any sort of anxiety about it, but I'm sure if it was the shittiest scenario I was thinking, I'd definitely be feeling some kind of feelings. I just generally feel so much more comfortable with my thoughts now, and I feel happier because I'm able to compartmentalize things, even though it's really hard to do sometimes and it takes a while. Since I am more able to do that, I can just think happy thoughts. I can just push this off to the side, not bottle it up and let it grow, but filter it through, sort it out. Notice what it is, notice what control I have or do not have over it, and put it where it needs to be, in the garbage. So to think happy thoughts, you don't ignore the bad thoughts. You're still noticing and addressing the bad thoughts, or sorting them, but you're not ignoring them. You have to, we're not just going to paint over them. You have to see them in your mind's eye, understand what they are, and release them into the mental void. Like chew them up and spit them out, get a taste and understand what they're about, and then spit them in the right nasty cup. That would be a way of filtering and decreasing their mass in your mental hard drive, taking up all that space. Defrag your mind with meditation and mindfulness. Try sitting in a quiet area where you can focus. You don't have to do this right now. Just pay attention for when you do have the time. You want to find a quiet location to sit in a comfortable position. I wouldn't recommend lying down because you might fall asleep, which is okay. If you need to go take a nap, go do what you got to do. But if you really want to experience this meditation and pay attention and be aware, you need to sit up in a comfortable position, drop your shoulders, bring them back slightly to correct your posture. And, I haven't tried the, I don't know what it's called, meditation where you have a mantra, where you repeat something. I have not tried that, but maybe that would work better for you. If you've had unsuccessful meditations in the past, or you think this might help you to start out, then do so. You just choose, a word. Some words could mean something, but I would think preferably not to mean anything specific. You can also follow your breath, which is a common thing to do. You can, in your head say in and out as you breathe, or just count your breaths in and out. But I feel like sometimes you could focus too much on the breath and then feel almost compelled to slow your breath or not breathe as loudly, because maybe you start thinking that you're breathing too loud, and then you're not breathing deep enough, and you get lost in thought about the breath. And all you need to do is focus on the breath, not anything else. There's no details to focus on. That's just how fast you can get off track. And you just have to find what that anchor is for you. And if a few words work great, closing your eyes and repeating it every few seconds or every other breath, or, whatever feels right to you. You can just repeat mindful or namaste or pepperoni, whatever you want. The key to meditation is to eliminate distraction. That would be exterior distraction and interior distraction. Exterior distraction you have no control over most of the time, but let it be what it is, and you are still doing the practice. Your interior distractions are obviously your thoughts, and if you hold on to one of them for too long, it's going to ping pong you to the next thought and the next thought, and you just keep going. And once again, you're tangled in this web of distraction. Once you notice you're in that web, get out. Refocus your attention and start again. Focus on the breath. Focus on your mantra, whatever you need. Let nothing distract you. The hum of the computer, the air from the air conditioner, the airplane outside, cars down the road. Let them be what they are. Focus on your anchor and just float in consciousness. See where it takes you. All right, if you're not actually meditating right now, then that's probably really boring. So next thing I had here that I just kind of randomly thought about as I was typing stuff up. Do you have someone that, maybe a friend of a friend, an acquaintance that you've met a few times, that for some reason you just don't like them? I don't like them. I know that people have that with other people, and it could be seen as like I don't get good vibes from that person. I don't know why, but I don't like them. I'm not talking about that. That's more of a gut feeling. There's some things about people that I admit I've had this with other people before, where it's just I don't like her, or I don't like him. I don't know why, but there's no reason. There's no reason. If I sit down and think really hard, I have no legitimate reason to dislike this person. But for some stupid reason in my head, I think of them, or like see a picture on Facebook or whatever, and it's just kind of shake my head. And I think that's really dumb. And I keep telling myself that that's dumb every time that I notice that happens. I still haven't thought about it enough to see if I can determine what it is. What is it? Jealousy? Is there some sort of something that I have envy over that I'm really experiencing and denying somehow? Or is it something else? Is there an actual reason that I'm overlooking? It's probably going to be something like jealousy or something else. But I just wanted to throw that out there. That's just something else to be aware of in your thoughts. And it's okay to question yourself. We have to learn somehow. You're not always right, especially when you think something in your head. It doesn't mean it's right. Just understanding something about some part of the mechanics of your mind. If that doesn't interest you, or if you don't think that it could be beneficial, then that sucks, because it really is beneficial and a huge contributor to my own happiness. I can't explain it any more than I have already in this podcast. It's a mindset. It really is a mindset. You know, and tomorrow, if when I walked out of the house tomorrow, there's a freaking bomber comes flying over and drops a bomb and blows my leg off. I might be in a different mind state there, and it might be complete opposite of what I'm talking about now. But you get what I'm saying. I'm going through everyday life, dealing with the everyday struggles, work, relationships, family, friends, jealousy, envy, whatever the case is. I'm going through all of this stuff, but I'm going through it with a much more positive outlook, and I'm genuinely happier. And I don't know if I've said it before or not, but I am not doing these podcasts for myself to get any sort of recognition, fame, or maybe get paid one day or whatever. I'm doing it to help other people, because I didn't find any sort of true self-appreciative happiness or understand really who I am and what I am. And, until like 3 to 5 years ago. I'm 37 years old. If I can help someone be as aware of themselves as I am now at 37, and maybe they're 22 or 24, 25, 19, whatever. If I can help someone get that realization sooner and be in a happier state sooner in life, and they will suffer less, that is priceless. I don't need anything from that. That it's just more happy people is going to be a happier place. I mean, fuck, there's so many negative things going on everywhere, and I don't want to focus on that crap. And it's not good for anyone to do that. It's all over the news. I mean, the news has good stuff too. I don't watch the news anymore, but when I have seen recently, like a coffee shop or whatever, it's not all bad, but it can be a little like a horror movie where, it's just blood and gore to get you hooked. It's just a shock factor or whatever, attention grabber. And the things that the media focuses on isn't necessarily something that we all need to focus on. It's just what they think is going to get some ratings. I mean, I know you know that, but it has to be said sometimes, because we fall into that rabbit hole, I guess, and just, or a habit hole. I fell in the habit hole. I just can't stop watching the shitty news. I don't know where I'm going with this anymore. I'm freaking done. Just be mindful of yourself. Really dig deep and understand why things are the way they are. Aren't you curious to know why this person yesterday did this to me and it pissed me off? Still mad about it. Pissed me off. What the fuck for? Really think about why you are pissed off, why you initially got pissed off. Is it justified? Are you justifying it only because it feels good? And because you don't want to be wrong, or you don't want to be seen as blowing it out of proportion? Is it fucking necessary? Is it necessary? Most of the time, probably not necessary. So just next time you get upset, sad, frustrated, pissed off, whatever, try to understand where that feeling comes from and why you're holding on to it, especially if it's an uncomfortable feeling. Think. I am done for today. Thank you for listening. Until next time.
Rusty's Escape Pod. Rusty's Escape Pod.